Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. On behalf of our research team, I would like to present our research at the 6th International Colloquium on Interdisciplinary Islamic Studies and the 5th Annual Postgraduate Conference on Muslim Society. The title of the research is The Option of Acceptance, Here Ijab and Offer Qabul in Electronic Contracts. Introduction. Khiyar is a term that applies in the domain of muamalah transactions, which is the critical condition for the contracting parties involved in all forms of business contracts to either proceed with or cancel a transaction. Researchers have not yet found a comprehensive discussion of khiyar ijab and khiyar qabul in electronic contracts, both in classical fiqh muamalah books and contemporary fiqh muamalah books, as well as in the research in the form of thesis, dissertation, and journal. This theme is highly urgent for discussion and formulation by experts in Islamic economics and researchers because this tasharruf is being practiced by the community today. Methods. This research is a part of normative legal research, specifically literature or doctrinal research with a legal principle approach, systematics, and synchronization of law. The data was taken from primary legal materials such as the Quran, Sunnah, and Ijtihad. Secondary legal materials include classical and contemporary fiqh muamalah book, research results in the form of thesis, dissertation, and journals. Tertiary legal materials such as Indonesian dictionary, cumulative index, encyclopedias, and internet site. Findings and discussion. Here ijab and its legal status. Here means choice or option, choosing between two options, someone choosing one of the choices. Here, in terminology, is the right to retract an offer before it reaches an acceptance, qabul. Mazhab Hanafi, Syafi'i, Hambali argue and acknowledge the existence of the option to revoke before the other party accepts the goods. However, Maliki scholars believe that the offer or ijab becomes customary or binding and the seller cannot retract the statement as long as the contract assembly is still in place. Termination of ijab in electronic contracts, directly and indirectly. Directly. The terminations of the conversation through direct communication means if the acceptance is not connected through a video call or telephone, and then the conversation ends and communication is interrupted, exited, or switched to another means. Indirectly, if the offering party specify a certain time for the offer, then the option to retract ends with the expirations of the specified time for the offer. If the offering party has not specified the timing of the offer, then the contract in this situation is a written contract between the two absent parties. The contract assembly is the acceptance assembly. For example, if the offering party presents themselves and has made the contract obligatory. The offer remains valid after the delay of the assembly in an electronic contract between the two parties who are both absent. Researchers can gain clarity from the two opinions that the offer does not expire with the delay of the contract assembly until the writing arrives. The contract assembly becomes valid when the writing can be read. It is a strong reason or evidence, while the other arguments are weaker. The conclusion is to validate an electronic contract through email or indirect electronic means because the recipient of goods sometimes does not respond to the writing from the initial posting. Instead, they reread the text in another assembly and take the opportunity to think, and this is required with the continuity of the offering party to their offer and not reacting it. It has been discussed earlier that the offering is required to remain valid from the moment of acceptance and the offer ends with the expiration of time. Definitions of khiyar qabul and its legal status. Khiyar qabul in terminology, it is the right of the party to whom the acceptance qabul is presented, whether to reject the offer or accept it as long as the assembly is in session. The termination of khiyar qabul in electronic contracts, directly and indirectly. Directly. If one party allows or closes direct communication channels, then the khiyar terminates. If the acceptance arrives after the end of the communication time, then the acceptance requires an offer from the other contracting party. Indirectly, in this situation, a contract is concluded through indirect communication, such as written communications via email. The option to withdraw the acceptance terminates under several conditions, namely, the expirations of the specified time for the offer, because, as explained earlier, the acceptance does not coincide with the meeting place, so the acceptance arrives while the offer is absent. If the recipient sends response or offer first, and it is clear that the offering party is opponent, and the option to withdraw the acceptance is terminated. Conclusion: the existence of here ijab, or the option to withdraw an offer, and here qabul, the option to withdraw the acceptance in electronic contract, occurs between contracting parties, whether conducted directly or indirectly. An electronic contract becomes customary or binding for the contracting parties when they fulfill the conditions and terms they have agreed upon based on the Al-Quran, Sunnah, and authentic customary practice. The contract assembly in electronic contracts is the moment when the continuity between the offer and the acceptance occurs, utilizing computer and internet facilities such as chat, video calls, and email. The continuity of both the offer and acceptance can be either direct or indirect through electronic means. That's all. Thank you for watching. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.